You've clicked on this video. I'm guessing you're exhausted in a way that's quite hard to put into words. Not just tired, exhausted in your bones, exhausted from holding everything together whilst quietly wondering how on earth your life got to this point. I know the feeling. I've lived it. My name's Debbie McIntosh. I'm a nature-based emotional resilience specialist, which is simply my way of saying I've spent over 20 years watching how nature grows, survives, and recovers. And what I discovered changed everything I knew about why we struggle. In this video, I want to show you one thing, not a technique, not a framework, just something I noticed one morning whilst watching water move. Something I haven't been able to unsee since. It's about why you're so exhausted. And it's probably not what you think. Stay with me. Can I describe something to you and see if it sounds familiar? You wake up in the morning and before your feet have even touched the floor, it's already there. That low level hum of everything that needs doing, everything that isn't right, everything you're still carrying from yesterday. You get on with it because that's what you do. You're good at getting on with it. But somewhere underneath all the getting on with it, there's this quiet, exhausting battle happening against the job that isn't changing, against the relationship that's complicated, against your own body saying it's had enough, against the fact that your life looks perfectly fine from the outside and you can't explain how heavy it feels on the inside. And the most exhausting part, you can't stop fighting. Because stopping feels like giving up. And you are not someone who gives up, which is honestly both your greatest strength and the thing that's currently absolutely flattening you. I want to gently offer you a different way of looking at this. What if the exhaustion isn't coming from your life being too hard? What if it's coming from the energy you're spending fighting things you cannot actually change? Just sit with that for a moment. Here's what I've observed over more than 20 years of watching nature and how working with people who are quietly falling apart whilst appearing completely fine on the outside. We've been taught, most of us, that the way through difficulty is to push harder, try more, fix it, change it, force it into a different shape. And there are absolutely things in life that respond to that. Problems you can solve, situations you can change, and obstacles you can move. But there is another category entirely. The things that simply, stubbornly, immovably true right now. The diagnosis. The difficult person who isn't changing. The loss. The uncertainty that has no resolution yet. The season of life you didn't choose and cannot fast forward through. And when we bring the same pushing, fixing, forcing energy to things, we don't change them. We just exhaust ourselves against them. In the world of the 12 sacred roots of emotional resilience, the framework I developed from 20 years of observation, this is what we call the acceptance route. And I want to be clear about acceptance, what it actually means, because it almost certainly is not what you think. Acceptance is not giving up. It's not saying something is fine when it isn't. It is not passivity or defeat or weakness. Acceptance is the decision to stop spending your energy fighting what already is here, so that you have energy left to actually move forward. Over many years of watching nature in all kinds of places and all kinds of seasons, one thing has taught me more about this than anything else: water. Watch what water does when it meets something it cannot move. A rock, a tree, a bank of earth. It doesn't stop. It doesn't push harder against the obstacle. It doesn't spend 20 minutes arguing with the rock about why the rock shouldn't be there in the first place. It simply finds the way around. And here's what's extraordinary about that. The water doesn't arrive at its destination defeated. It arrives having nothing of its essential, having lost nothing of its essential nature. It's still water. It's still moving. It got there. The rock, meanwhile, if you watch over years rather than moments, is slowly, quietly shaped by the water's persistent movement around it. The thing the water accepted rather than fought is actually transformed by that acceptance over time. Now think about what we do instead. We stand at the rock and we push and push and push, and we expend enormous energy, emotional energy, physical energy, mental energy, trying to move something that is not moving. And we call that strength. We call it resilience. We call it not giving up. But you see, nature would call it something different. Nature would call it exhaustion waiting to happen. The most resilient things in the natural world are not the ones that resist everything. They're the ones that know what to flow around and what to stand firm on. Trees bend in the wind. Rivers find new channels. Seeds grow around concrete rather than through it. That capacity to distinguish between what we can change and what we need to accept and move around, that is the acceptance route. And when it's strong within you, something remarkable happens. You stop losing energy to battles you cannot win. And that energy becomes available for the things that actually matter. I want to give you something you can try today. Not tomorrow, not when life gets quieter, today, as it actually is. This takes about 2 minutes, and you can do it anywhere. In the car before you walk into work, in the kitchen whilst the kettle boils, or lying in bed tonight before you go to sleep. I call it the wait and release breath. And here's all it involves. Think of one thing you've been pushing against, not the biggest thing necessarily, just something that's been taking up quiet energy lately. Something you keep mentally returning to, trying to resolve, trying to change, but hasn't shifted. Got one? Great. If you haven't, don't worry, you'll find one. Now, take a slow, deep breath in. And as you breathe in, consciously feel the weight of the fighting that thing, the energy it takes, the tension it creates. Really let yourself notice how much of you is tied up in it. Then breathe out slowly. And as you breathe out, say quietly to yourself, either out loud or in your head, this is here right now. I don't have to fix it in this moment. I can keep moving forward anyway. That's it. That's the whole practice. Now, you might need to do that several times for the same thing. That's completely natural. You're not trying to feel neutral about something that's genuinely hard. You're just processing the tiniest bit of the grip that's cost you so much energy. Try it once today, just once, and notice even slightly what shifts in your body when you stop pushing against it. Something for just one breath. Try it. You might just surprise yourself. The question that changed everything for me, after years of watching water and trees and seeds and all the quiet, persistent, undefeated things in nature, was this. What if exhaustion isn't a sign that you're not strong enough? What if it's a sign that you've been strong in the wrong direction? That one question opened a completely different way of understanding what resilience actually means. Not pushing harder, not breaking through, growing around, finding the way forward that doesn't cost you everything. That's what the 12 sacred roots of emotional resilience is built on. And acceptance is where it starts. If this has landed for you today, the next video in this series looks at something that often sits just beneath exhaustion. That feeling of being lost, not quite knowing how you're going to get there, not being sure who you even are underneath all the performing and coping. It's called feeling lost and not sure why. And it might just explain quite a lot to you. And if you're ready to go deeper than a single video can take you, to explore all 12 roots across a whole year with a worksheet each month, a weekly check-in and a live monthly session with me, Wild Heart Seedlings might be exactly what you've been looking for. You'll find the link below this video. But for now, try the wait and release breath just once today. And be a little kinder to yourself about how long you've been holding all of this. It's been a lot. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.